Hello and happy, what is today? Tuesday. Sorry. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So, I had an interesting afternoon and I decided that perhaps there are some of you out there who could benefit from some information. So, recently we've heard about a couple of tragedies that have occurred down in Florida, one significant one in Orlando this weekend. And um, obviously, hearts are saddened by the events that occurred, and our prayers, I hope, are all going out to all of those who were involved and affected, as well as their families. One of the things that I did want to talk about was the very real experience that some people may be having who were not down in Florida, were not there, or directly affected, but are still being affected by what happened. Many times, especially when we're looking through the social media sites and reading all these articles and watching the news clips, we actually are ourselves becoming traumatized by learning many of the details of the events that occurred and the people who are now in deep sadness or suffering. And that can actually play deep into our psyche. It can affect us more than probably we realize. Not that we want to be closed off or, keep our heads in the sand and not aware of what's happening in the world. Obviously, there's tragedy happening all over the world every moment. And our prayers and our compassion and our empathy should always be present for the fellow man and woman, because we are all one, although some people may not necessarily realize that or have that awareness. So I did want to talk about some oils that you can use. For those of you, I have amazing friends and family members who are homosexual or gay or lesbian. And this may actually be hitting a little bit closer to home for them, because that was a group that was attacked. Although we know that people who hate will hate whatever they want to hate and whomever they want to hate. So with that said, let's talk about how you can actually shift some of the energy and trauma of those events that you may actually be internalizing and could negatively affect you in the long run. So one of the things I did as soon as I heard about what happened was I went and I got my grounding oil. This is an important oil blend. And the reason why is because many times we can be up in our head, especially, computers are great. This is great that I'm able to reach out to so many people that I don't even know or I don't get to see on a regular basis. But we can kind of have our thoughts controlled by a lot of the things that we're reading and we're seeing or that we're exposed to. So even when I watch the news or I'm watching television shows, I try to be very selective as to what I'm watching, because that is energy. There are messages there. And whether or not I'm conscious of it, I am actually retaining some of that. And it is affecting my energy field, my emotional well-being, and also what thoughts are coming up in my subconscious. So I placed grounding oil on the bottom of my feet. And I've been doing that almost every day since. I actually do that pretty much on a regular basis anyway. And that just kind of keeps me out of too much of a headspace, too much of soaking in all these details to so many things and not keeping myself rooted. You need to be rooted. When we're not rooted, we're very easily blown away. Get that? The next thing that I did was I work with lavender a lot. I love lavender. It is like they call it the Swiss Army knife of essential oils. It's so versatile in all of its uses. However, I felt to work with peace and calming. And this is one that I love to diffuse. So I actually put a couple of drops of this in my diffuser, and I've been breathing it in throughout the day. I've also been diffusing it throughout the house. And the reason why is because remember that I'm sharing my house with other people. And those other people are also exposed to the things that happen in the world, just life in general. And so we want to keep ourselves in a very peaceful place. And it's simply because when we're not in a peaceful place, we're easily swayed, we're easily controlled. We become, we basically become like leaves in the wind. You know, it's very easy to get caught up in things when we get a little too riled up, too emotional. The next thing that I would highly suggest is for those of you who are struggling with these types of events, or even just, this goes beyond just these types of events. This goes into our past, into our childhood, things that have occurred throughout our lives, people who we have felt have done wrong, caused us harm, or caused others harm. Forgiveness. And forgiveness is one that I love to take and place a drop over my heart, because I really want to let go of any anger that I'm holding. And I'm really working on that very diligently. And if we could all let go of that anger, or, anger is kind of an umbrella term, but usually it's like a sense of injustice or a feeling of hopelessness or being very saddened or disappointed. Those are all, the underlying emotions. And we usually say anger just because we don't really know how to narrow it down. So forgiveness is a great oil to place over your heart, not only for working with forgiveness of others, but also for working with forgiveness of yourself. Many times we don't even realize that we're holding these emotions about ourselves, angry that we didn't do something differently, holding it against ourselves that we're not doing more. It just goes on and on. So forgiveness, wonderful oil. The next oil that I highly suggest is Harmony. Harmony. It's a beautiful oil. I will tell you, this is a powerful oil. So those of you who work with chakras or energy centers in your body, the 7 main chakras specifically, you can take Harmony and you can actually place it over each chakra, or you can take it, put a drop in your hands, rub your hands together, and actually just run your hands right up. So your first chakra is your perineum. That's down in between your legs, which is also known as your root chakra. Then you come up to your second chakra, which is about 1.5 inches or so below your belly button, and you can hold it over there. Then you come up to, and that's actually your sacral. And then you come up to your solar plexus, which is kind of where your diaphragm is at. So you can hold it there over your solar plexus, then over your heart, then over your throat, then over your third eye, and up above your crown chakra at the top of your head. So I love Harmony. Harmony is powerful, powerful oil. Now, some of you may have actually had that emotion that we'll just say is anger as an umbrella term come up. And one of the things that you can do, there's many things that you can do, is actually to use purification oil. So this actually comes out of the book by Dr. Carolyn Mean, Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. And if you look up anger in the book, it will show purification oil and placing purification oil on the liver point. So for those of you who know about Chinese medicine, what they teach as far as emotions is that our body actually holds certain emotions in different parts of our body based on frequency, because everything is frequency. Our thoughts, our emotions, our organs, the table, the wall, the animals, we all have frequency to us. And that's just electron behavior around the cells. So taking purification oil and actually placing that over the nipples, because that is actually the liver point. Everybody finds it hysterical when I say that, but that is the liver pressure point. So you can put it there. You could also put it over your liver, because that is where we hold our frustration. That's where we hold our quote unquote anger. So placing it over the liver, which is the right side of the body, is another option. Another wonderful oil that I would highly suggest. With everything that's going on in the world right now, it's very easy to become disillusioned. It's also very easy to get caught up where we don't necessarily see the bigger picture. And there is a bigger picture. Trust me when I say that. So not everything is always as it appears to be. And so by working with Awaken, I love to place Awaken over my third eye and also over my heart, because I want to awaken my heart to the truth, but I also want to see clearly. I want to see that which is unseen by my eyes. So using Awaken is a powerful oil. These are oils that it really would benefit everyone to have in their stock. So how many people feel like this world is, excuse my friend, well, I won't even say it that way, to hell in a handbasket. I've heard that phrase quite often. Um, I'm hopeful. I believe that we're going through a transition. I believe we're going through transition as a race, the human race, and that it's kind of getting worse before it gets better, because that's usually what happens. But I'm hopeful, and so I use hope. I love this oil. For me, I actually just rub it in my hands and I breathe it in. I take 3 really deep breaths and take it into my energy field, and it works wonderfully. Now, because of what happened in Orlando and the group that was attacked, the lesbian and gay community specifically, a lot of people that were not directly involved in that event may be having some emotions stirred up because of the fact that perhaps you're homosexual also. Feeling perhaps that you've been the victim of discrimination, hatred, judgment, many things. So there's a lot of old wounds that may be kind of getting triggered or, reopened. And one of the things that I would highly suggest is considering to work with inner child. Most of us really remember those traumatic events from our childhood, those feelings that we've stored and kind of built upon as time has gone on. Different events will compound that. And so by working with inner child, we're able to start releasing some of those things, remembering that we are whole, we are divine creatures, we are loved by our Creator, that there is nothing that we've done wrong. We are living a human experience, and that our hearts are healthy when they're filled with tolerance and understanding for one another. And that can sometimes be difficult, but when we work on ourselves and relinquish judgment of everyone else and simply work to improve ourselves as human beings, spiritual beings, we tend to find that a lot of the wounds or things that we thought were the truth were old belief systems that were instilled when we were children, and usually based off of quote unquote negative events that have happened to us. Made us feel unworthy, made us feel like, we couldn't be ourselves and things like that. So for those of you who may be in the lesbian and gay community, perhaps you want to start healing some of those wounds. So inner child is a wonderful one to start working with. The last one I want to talk about, and there's many more, Envision, Believe, those are wonderful oils. Really helps to shift not only your energy, but the energy of everyone around you. And feel free to diffuse it throughout your home. The more of us who can become beacons of light in this world, the greater opportunity we have to push out the darkness. And have no doubt that there are those dark forces out there that would lead us to judge and condemn others, when really we should be growing through love. Everything is based on one of 2 things, fear or love. This is all my opinion, of course, and it's whether it resonates with you or not is fine, but this is just where I'm at. So highest potential. I love this oil. When we work with highest potential, not only are we, in a sense, it's not just about like going out into the world and taking on the world and doing all these, quote unquote successful things. It's not about the house and the cars and the bank account. It's not about that. Reaching your highest potential means that you're working in mind, body, and spirit. Or I should say spirit, body, and mind, because that is really the ideal state in which we want to be working with ourselves. So even on a spiritual level, when we work with highest potential, we notice that our awareness, our embrace of certain aspects of our culture will start to shift, or actually even judgment of certain aspects of different cultures will start to shift. And we may actually find that we have more commonalities and similarities than we have differences, because we are all walking through this spiritual journey. We are all doing the best that we can. We are all made different, yet the same. So keeping that in mind. So before I close, I would just like to say to all of my wonderful family and friends, because I'm surrounded by so many of you who are a part of the lesbian and gay community, know that from this heart, you have complete acceptance. And I know that the Creator created you in a way that is very special and with purpose and reason. And so may God shine his light upon you and protect you, and may you know that you are loved. I wish you all a very happy Tuesday evening, and be well.